You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You
Okay.
hold the microphone.
Okay. Can you? Thanks. So, welcome to Unity Church in Reading. I'm Laura, and this is Anton. We're your musicians today. We're going to begin our service with a song. We are all friends here, so if you'd like to stand, please do so.
We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door.
Or on the screen.
We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are.
And dancing is allowed.
We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. And hold you in our hearts the way you are. And hold you in our hearts the way you are.
Yay! Okay, please remain standing, and we are now going to give each other the congregational blessing. You all know how to do that. Hold out your hands, send that good energy around the room, look each other in the eyes, smile, and we're blessing each other today. Thank you so much. We love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you. Thank you for being here. The Christ in you. All right.
So, as you noticed, that was a little change in our service this morning, that our greeting for each other is going to be our community blessing. And that seemed like such a lovely way to start our service, is truly blessing each other. So thank you for joining in on that. Thank you for being here this morning. And thank all of you who are at home for being with us this morning too. Let us begin today with an opening prayer. So just, if you're comfortable, close your eyes. Settle onto your chair, knowing that you are completely supported. Dropping your shoulders, softening your eyes. Just imagining any tension that you're holding in your body melting like warm butter. Just leaving, leaving, leaving. And you are left with a beautiful sense of calm. And in that calmness, you feel present this morning. And for this, we are grateful. We are grateful that Spirit works through us in mysterious and beautiful ways so that we feel our wholeness and our completeness. With great gratitude that you have come this morning to give and come to receive, we trust that each of us is held in a space of being open and receptive, and that the desires that we came with this morning are met. So, with great love and gratitude in my heart for each one of you who is here and each one of you who are joining us from afar, I say thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. And Laura, will you please now light our Christ candle for us? Thank you. And let us say together with Laura, we light this candle to remind us that the light of Christ lives within each one of us. And together, I am the light of Christ.
Are we doing a new song for them?
We're doing the Lord's Prayer.
Oh, we're doing.
We're going to
It's an
sing
old
for you
song.
the Lord's Prayer today. Our Father. It's a chance to meditate a little bit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Thank you, Laura. That was truly magnificent. Hello, everyone, and let's do our affirmations for the month of April. We're going to do inner peace together. I express the peace and love of my Christ Spirit. For guidance, I seek the guidance of Spirit, and I move forward confidently. For healing, I am renewed in mind, body, and spirit by the healing power of God within. For prosperity, I am open to divine ideas and use them to prosper my life. And for world peace, I walk in harmony and acceptance with all beings. And now, we're going to do our consciousness statement. Divine order is now manifesting in every phase of this ministry through its expanding prosperity, attendance, and by being a light on the path for others. And we are blessed as we go into our joy song, Rise and Shine.
This is a new song that Anton and I composed very recently, and just since you haven't heard it before, we've just got the chorus up here on the words. So if you pick up that part as you sing along, then we'll be doing great, and we'll play it again sometime in the future with you singing along and joining us.
and shine, rise and shine. It's a new day. Rise and shine, try a new way. Journey to your destiny through endless possibility. You cannot fail, your heart is free. Rise and shine, rise and shine. It's a new day. Rise and shine, try a new way. Rise and shine, it's a new day. Rise and shine, try a new way. Rise and shine, your inner light illuminates your path so bright. The rainbow's end is in your sight. Rise and shine, rise and shine. It's a new day. Rise and shine, try a new way. Rise and shine, it's a new day. Rise and shine, try a new way.
Thank you. Thank you for trying something new with us today.
Kind of a nice spring feel song.
Can you hear me okay? It's very important because before I lower my mask, lest there be any doubt amongst you about my loyalty to a professional football team, it would be the Seattle Seahawks. For you 49ers, Lakers, or 49ers, or Raiders, or other people, just remember we are all one family. And with that, thank you, Pastor. Oh my gracious. But hey, what a fun and wonderful thought we had that Unity has provided for us today. Imagination is the thought. Imagination. And the affirmation, I'll read it first. I imagine limitless possibilities. Could you join with me now? I imagine limitless possibilities. In childhood, my imagination helped me see fascinating shapes and wondrous creatures in cloud formations. Picking up a twig, I might have pretended I held a wand that could give me magical powers. An ordinary packing box could become a vessel to sail on or under the seas, an aircraft to fly higher than mountains, or even a spaceship I could fly to explore the stars. Much more than whimsy, imagination is a potent spiritual tool. I use my imagination with intention to give shape to my dreams and goals. Although my childhood may be a memory, I am grateful that I can still use my imagination to create the life of my dreams as I envision possibilities beyond the reality I know and the world I see. Inspired by the scripture taken from Luke chapter 10, verse 12, for I tell you, that many prophets and kings desired to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear it.
I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening.
Will you join me now in a time of meditation? If you're comfortable, close your eyes. Relax in your chair and go within to that heart space, to that place of the divine, knowing that God's world is perfect. That God's world is there for you, and the power of God directs you and guides you in everything that you do in life. I know that there is one life, there is one God, and that God dwells within you. And as we think on imagination, see the world as a wonderful place that works for each and every one. And as you go within to the silence, allow God to speak to you, to speak of the perfection of your life and the creative force that lives within you. And in the silence, we go within. And may we now bring our thoughts back into the room. And in this moment, think of friends, think of relatives, and think of those that are in the power for our nation. And speak their names aloud. Knowing wholeness and wellness for each one. And think now of those who have asked for prayer. Put their names into our prayer box. See the wholeness and wellness of each one that has lovingly asked for prayer and expecting to receive. And now I ask that you speak your name aloud, anchoring in these prayers, anchoring in the communication with God that we have received today. And for this I give thanks and know that it is so, and it is done as we have asked. And so it is.
A song by our good friend Eddie Watkins Jr.
We're all in it together, it's true as they say. Still confusion abounds as we seek the right way. I wonder sometimes what this world's come into, and try to imagine what would Jesus do. Saying all is well and it's as it should be. Easy when things are all pretty and clean. But when I think things aren't happening how they're supposed to, I try to imagine what would Jesus do. What would he say about the homeless and hungry? What would he do about the beggar and thief? What would he say to the drunk and drug addict, or the young girl selling herself on the street? Do you think he'd see heavenly perfection underneath their earthly shell? Through the veil of confusion to what is true, I believe that's what Jesus would do. We could all embrace our Christ presence and learn to forgive 10 times and again, and in each face see their divine essence. We can change the world without from within, and realize heavenly perfection underneath each earthly shell. Through the veil of confusion to what is true, I believe that's what Jesus would do. I believe that's what Jesus would do.
Thank you.
What would Jesus do? As most of you notice, we're using a slightly different order of service today. So with that, I thought this would be a very appropriate time to maybe change the way that I do a Sunday lesson. When I was preparing for this particular week, I listened to some of the things that Anton and Laura, when we talked during the week of music, and the comment of what would Jesus do kind of stuck with me. And I thought I would ask that question of you this very morning. What makes for a good Sunday talk? Something that resonates. Inspirational. Clear points. With a prescription and a call to action. A passion for what you're speaking about. Anybody else? The joy of being able to communicate. You know, in spirit, we were listening to that prior song, and it mentioned to us that in spirit, all is perfect. And the lesson in this life is to remember. So I guess the best I could do is to offer how we can be better in this life. How we can do better in this life. How we can allow our spirit to work in our life. And not only to work, but work through us and in us as us. You know, Jesus must have been thinking about these same things as he was preparing for the Sermon on the Mount. Now, he had been in ministry for a few months before the Sermon on the Mount, and he had been healing and he had been teaching throughout Galilee. But when he was preparing for the Sermon on the Mount, the people were arriving and finding a place around the base. So he rose up. And what did he talk about? Well, he talked and told us that divine laws deal with thoughts, motives, and our actions. But he also mentioned that we habitually fall short because we're humans. And as we grow in our own consciousness, we're able to lift ourselves up and do better each and every day. In the New International Version of the Bible, Matthew 5:38 through 41 tells us, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If someone strikes you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if someone wants to sue you and take your tunic, let him have your cloak as well. If someone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. You know, there's been a lot of discussion about what those verses meant. So I did my research, And I went to a renowned historian by the name of Walter Wink. And he's a historical scholar. And he had the idea of, at the time of Jesus, what would those have truly meant? Well, we know that everyone was right-handed at this time. Now, why was this? Because the left hand were used for bodily functions, and you would never have touched anyone with it. So the idea of striking someone, and if it was your right cheek, it would have been a backhand. And the reason for that is that a person of authority backhanded someone's cheek, it was putting them in their place and saying that I am dominant over you. So by Jesus saying, turn the other cheek, that person now has a dilemma. If they're going to backhand you, they can't use the left hand. So the only way they can strike that other cheek is with an open hand. And that showed equality. And it was a challenge. The second line is about one's cloak. Well, we know that there wasn't a whole lot of clothes being worn in those days. So if a debtor had lost his cloak and then gave of his tunic, or given his tunic and then lost his cloak, he would be naked. Now, in those days, it was the problem of the viewer in viewing nakedness. So if somebody were naked and you looked at them, you were doing wrong. So Jesus was saying that if they take the cloak and you then give of your tunic also, they're the ones that are going to be in the hard place. And in the third situation, Wink interprets the verse of making the oppressor break the law. In Roman law at this time, the law of Angaria said that Roman officials could be in occupied territories and demand that somebody carry their goods or messages or equipment 100 paces. And that was a Roman mile. So they could carry their stuff 1 mile. And you'd had no option. If they told you to carry it, you were supposed to carry it. But it also said that only 1 mile. That if you were to ask them to carry it the 2nd mile, the person doing the requesting was in the wrong, and they could be disciplined. Well, if we know these truths at the time, and if we were at this time of sitting there and listening to Jesus, this time of teaching, we would have known this. We would have understood these things. So it would have meant something to us. But Jesus was saying much more than what Walter Wink had in mind. He was telling us also to find compassion when we deal with other people and to use forgiveness. Forgiveness in our hearts. And that we're not to use retribution to get even. Well, rather than taking an eye for an eye, Jesus encouraged us to resist evil. Because giving our attention to getting even gives it more power in our lives. It makes us think more about it. It becomes more of who we are. So Jesus was very clear. Let it go. It's not worth holding on to. The revealing word tells us that a man has the privilege and freedom of using the power as he wills. That means we each have the ability to use our powers, our innate ability of the Christ within us as we desire. And if it brings about inharmonious conditions, that's on us. And that's what evil is, by definition. It's inharmonious conditions in our lives, in the world. Inharmonious with what? The Spirit. It's outside of Spirit. It's not what the indwelling Spirit wants us to do. Likewise, if someone should strike us, rather than retaliating and becoming embroiled in the battle, Jesus encourages us to turn the other cheek and walk away. To not engage, to not give it energy. And if you think about it, it's the only way that there's a possible Christ-like solution. Because if I get up into my accuser's face and we go to it, there is no peace in those moments. I have a story that I don't like to tell about myself, but it was a real understanding. I was umpiring baseball, the little person with all the equipment on behind the batter, calling balls and strikes, and carrying on the game. And in this particular game, it was a tournament game, so it was a championship. A lot was on the line. I was having a wonderful performance. I was doing a great job umpiring, and somebody from one of the sides kept harassing me. Oh, you missed that one, Blue. Oh, you're blind. Let me get out your walking cane. Just was at me the whole game. And I normally don't listen to that stuff. But something was going on with me that day. And it just kept inning after inning. And at the end of the game, I had to go over and sign the scorebook denoting the tournament and who had won the game. And here was this person still chewing on me. And I finally said, I've had enough. Get my mask. Now, why I took off my mask, I'll never know. Took off my mask, laid it down, and I said, okay, you want some of me? I'm ready. And at that time, I knew he had me. I had left the peace of my heart to enter into the fray that he wanted. And I'll never forget that feeling of, Ken, why did you do that? And those things happen to us all the time. We can be in an argument. My favorite one is with my wife. And I'll know I'm going down the wrong street. She's telling me that. Don't go there. Don't go there. And I go down the street anyway, knowing better. Now, am I letting the highest and best of the indwelling Spirit work through me? Or am I letting my humanness, my will of choosing what I want to do, shine through? Certainly is not my spirit. And we do it all the time. And Jesus tells us to love ourselves and to forgive ourselves. And choose again. We can choose again. I can stop in mid-sentence and say, I don't have to do this. If somebody's belittling me, I can say, well, thank you for that input. Do you have any more? I have control of me and what I think, and what I say, and what I do. And if we focus on selfish, and I want to say sinful thoughts, and we know that by using sinful, I'm just saying that they're missing the mark. They're not who I am. It only increases its power and its presence in my life and in your life. By asking us to turn the other cheek, Jesus is suggesting that we focus on forgiveness and loving others. And I'm certainly happy that I can walk away. Because when he tells us to love our neighbor, it doesn't mean that I have to be there with that neighbor. I can love them from afar. So it doesn't mean that I have to place myself in harm's way. It doesn't mean that I'm going to turn my other cheek to receive another blow. It tells us that we're going to take the path of resisting evil in our lives and offering love in its stead. So during this week, I'd like you to practice that. In one situation where you knew that maybe last week you would have said something, you're going to smile. Or ask for more. Do you have any more comments? And we're going to love that person. And we're going to forgive ourselves if we fall short. And we're going to love our neighbor as ourselves. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Ken. I think you tied in all of the things that people thought would make a good talk. So we appreciate that a lot. And now I am going to sit down while Laura and Anton give us a message through song.
We're not going to pass the basketball, ladies? Okay.
I think this is our the offering time. So we are providing music during the
Okay, yes. Yeah, when I saw you walk up. So we're going to do offering now, and then you will do your...
We'll do music while the basket is going around.
Sounds good.
It takes a village to do this sometimes.
It does
You know,
take
it's
a
really
village,
exciting to me that we've changed our program just a little bit. And here I had my sheet right in front of me. And still. But how are you feeling about the new flow? Do you like it? Yeah. It's nice, isn't it?
I think it
you.
will flow a little more as we get more used to it, but it's fresh and nice.
I think so too. So thank you for practicing right along with us. So let us take our offerings in our hands this morning and maybe even hold it over your heart. And with great feeling of gratitude for all that we have, and with a great knowingness that we are coming and presenting our offerings with a generosity of heart. And together let us say, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And now, Anton and Laura.
Another song by Eddie Watkins Jr.
Circulation, circulation, like the water raining down to grow the flowers up through the ground. Circulation, circulation, the universe you give into will multiply and send it back to you.
Pressed down,
A good measure shaken together and running over.
pressed down,
A good measure
shaken together and running over. Pressed down,
A good measure shaken together and running over.
Pressed down, good measure, shaken together and running over. Circulation, circulation. Like the water raining down, roll the flowers up through the ground. Circulation, circulation. The universe you give into, multiply it, send it back to you. Multiply it, send it back to you. Multiply it, and send it back to you.
Oh, Divine Spirit, we are so thankful for these gifts that have been brought forward. We are so thankful that so many call this their spiritual home. And through it, there's a sharing of their prosperity, their time, their talents, their treasure. And we give thanks as we move forward in the community, providing that love to flow in and through us. So this offering we give thanks for. We allow it to do the work of thy Spirit. And so it is. Thank you.
And
Here's a
before
little-
Jerry sits down, for years when we could have food, there was somebody who made this church a special place. And today happens to be, at least this month, a special day. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jerry. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
And all of our other April birthdays. We are so blessed to have those April birthdays. And I know that we send that love out to Blaze also. Anyone else we know that has an April birthday? No, thank you, Diana. So let's do another verse.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
You are wonderful.
Happy birthday to you.
There's a lot to celebrate this month.
Amen. I know I'm still walking around that the verse from Carolyn's talk last week, that we are the Easter people, that still is sticking with me every time I think about who I really am. Well, we certainly give thanks for the church being open on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 10 to 4. And true with this week, you could stop in any time during that if you'd like to have prayer or you just want to check in. Also, prayers are available after service. Twyla is our prayer chaplain today, and she'll be back in the back if you'd like to have prayer with her today. And also, you can call the church, ask for your prayer chaplain to give you a call, or talk with Carolyn or myself regarding prayer. We also have our noon meditations here in the sanctuary, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and you can also still call in by phone if you'd like to participate in that meditation. Shasta Connect offers Sunday bus service to churches on Sundays, and it's available from Redding, Anderson, and Lake Shasta. So if you had needed any information about that, ask Carolyn about it. Also, Western Service Workers, who we support, gave out 67 food baskets and 100 Easter baskets this last week. So they're to be applauded. The groups meeting this week will be double winners, meeting on Sundays at 6. ACIM meets Thursdays at 10 a.m. and Young People in Recovery Wednesday at 6. And we're going to be starting up our Course of Love class again, and it's going to be on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So that's going to be coming in the next few weeks, maybe the 1st of May. We look forward to seeing you next Sunday, and if you aren't able to make it, you can join us on Facebook or on YouTube to see the service. Carolyn, anything else you'd like to add?
If I could see Kay and Alice and Diana just briefly after service.
And then we will finish our service with the closing song. So let's join together. If you could rise, that would be great.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
For protection, and remember we have some new parts to that now. The light of God surrounds us. I shine that light. The love of God enfolds us. I share that love. The power of God protects us. I embrace that power. The presence of God watches over us. God is always with me. Wherever we are, God is. Have a beautiful week, everyone. It was wonderful having you here this morning. And thank you for being so accepting of our new order of service. It was fun to create it. Yes.
We are the seed